guys, welcome back to First Class Convo. It's Cindy, and I am back and ready to go. I took a much needed break, so I guess what I'm going to be doing in the future is maybe do about 8 episodes, take a break, and then go back and, make it seasons, if you will. So welcome to season 2 of First Class Convo. A few things have changed. We have our backdrop for our special occasion, which is Black History Month. We have a new logo, if you will, First Class Convo visual podcast, because that is ultimately what we really are. We are a visual podcast that really wants to try to change lives one conversation at a time. That's all we're looking to do. But, however, within Black History Month, we're looking to do a little bit something different. We're looking to basically make you aware of some information that you may not have been privy to. Maybe you already know this, who knows? But today, we're going to be talking about Madam C.J. Walker. All right, guys, so let's talk about Madam C.J. Walker. That was not always her name. She was actually born Sarah Breedlove on December 23rd, 1867. Her parents were sharecroppers and they lived on a plantation. But Sarah knew that living on the plantation was not God's best for her life. So at the age of 14, she got married. Shortly after that, she had a child. While she was married, her way of making a living was doing laundry for people in the community. And so while she was home doing laundry, her relationship was not going well. Her husband, for whatever reason, ended up getting arrested. When he came back home, he was not the same. He actually became abusive once he came home from being arrested. She had all that she could take. She was not going to deal with it. And so he ended up leaving the home. One day while she was going through her process of grieving the relationship, Miss Annie Malone comes to her door. And long story short, Miss Annie Malone tells her, you know what, hey, if you do my laundry, I'll do your hair, and I have this magnificent product that will make your hair grow. It's called Miracle Grower. And so, they traded services back and forth for a while. They actually became very good friends. And, Annie was Sarah's hairstylist. And if you know anything about having a good hairstylist, I don't know how it is today. I know that it's how it used to be back in the day. Your hairstylist was like your best friend. Your hairstylist knew stuff about you that other people had no clue. Because you built that type of relationship with your hairstylist. So, they became very good friends. And then one night, Annie has this dream. She dreams that she was a salesman or a saleswoman, if you will, for Miss Annie. And, while Annie is doing Sarah hair, there's 2 young mulatto looking women, young women, they look like teenagers to be honest. They came up to her and Annie was basically giving them their sales pitch of what they would say as they would go door to door. Well, after the young ladies leave, let me say this about the young ladies. What Annie wanted the young ladies to basically tell the customers was, hey, my hair got like this from using this product. Now, one thing about the product, now it was one to grow your hair, but it was not one to change the texture of your hair, if you will. And these young ladies, they were mixed black and white, so their hair was nothing like Annie's hair. Annie had that 4C hair type, not what they had, if you will. They had this beautiful hair that had the big loose waves in it. Sarah had the 4C hair. Annie also had the big loose wave hair because she was mulatto as well. Annie actually was the slave owner's child because the slave master slept with Annie's mother, and that's how she was produced. So, she had everything going for her. She was light skinned, she had this Miracle Grow product. She was, this, person who did hair. So, she pretty much had it going on, and, she was making pretty good money. So, so Sarah tells her, after the young ladies leave, hey, I had this dream that I became, the face of your product. And before she could get it out of her mouth good, pretty much, Annie cut her off. Basically said, you could never. What about you makes me want to put you as one of my salespeople? There is nothing about you that people would even want to buy this product from you. Excuse me, guys. So let me just say this. Sarah Breedlove, Madam C.J. Walker, was one of a short stature, kind of heavy set and dark skinned. And, back then there was this color struckness, if you will, that, dark skinned people had no place. And so, after Annie tells Sarah that, Sarah decides, you know what? She went out the back door. And as she was going out the back door to grab Annie's laundry, she saw that the hair grower. And she took 20 of them. And she went out to the marketplace where they would go, where the community would come. And I guess, different owners would have their different products and groceries that they would sell there. So it kind of reminded me of a farmer's market. And so she had the 10 cans of the product there, and she called the women over, and she ended up selling every last one of them that she stole. When she went back to Annie's to get her hair done, she was like, hey, Annie, look what I did. I was able to sell all of this. I really can sell this product. Contrary to what you believe, I can sell this product. And Annie made her feel very small. I mean, if she had any self-esteem by the time Annie got done with her, she did not. So basically, she said she set out on a quest to do this thing on her own. And so she did steal Annie's recipe. However, she tweaked it and she made it her own, because the product that Annie had, it smelled like sulfur. It kind of reminds me of Sulfur 8 when I think about it, when they talk about it. And so she was like, well, so basically Annie goes to Sarah and say, oh, you stole my product or whatever. And so Annie is winning. She's winning Sarah is winning over Annie's customers. And she realizes, I can't stay here. This city ain't big enough for the two of us. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to go over here to Indianapolis, and I'm going to make this thing work over there. So they go to Indianapolis, and by this time, Sarah is now married to C.J. Walker. And he was one who definitely believed in her dreams, because at the beginning he told her, I'm not moving. I'm not leaving St. Louis and going to Indianapolis, even though that's where his father was. And his father had a big, beautiful home there in Indianapolis. But he ended up leaving, going to Indianapolis, because he was one to help his woman's dream. And so he did that. And he was also like, her marketing person. He made her labels for her product or whatever. So they get over to Indianapolis, and things are not looking up. So she basically tells him, you don't plant a seed today and expect a plant tomorrow. It takes time for your harvest to come. He said, okay, well, I'm giving you 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to make a harvest come in. And she did. She made that harvest come. Sarah was so amazing. She had employees that worked for her. She had 5 top employees. And when I tell you, they were top saleswomen of hers, who were going door to door, wherever they needed to make sure that their product got sold. They ended up, their house that they moved to in Indianapolis ended up catching on fire, because they were making the product in the home, and the person who was supposed to be watching it wasn't watching it. But that was okay, because they got a new and improved home that was even bigger, that had even more space for them to make the product, which still wasn't enough space, because not only did she make this product, but she also started doing hair as well. I mean, she even had cosmetologists. I don't know if they were called cosmetologists back then, but that's what I'm going to call them today, because that's what I know them as. So the cosmetologist, she had people working for her. So Sarah was making legacy, and she didn't even realize that's what she was doing. But I'll take that back because I do believe she did realize that what she was doing, because she really believed in the black woman, because nobody else was wanting to give the black woman a job, but she did. And so in doing so, once they got the new house, she realized, I need to get this out of my house. I don't even have room to have a house. I need a factory. So, she was talking to, the head black men who were in charge at that time. And one basic flat out and told her, you think I'm going to invest in you for cosmetics? No way, no how. Cosmetics don't stand a chance. Women don't even need cosmetics. So she, yeah, whatever, you say that now, but I'll show you. And so basically, Sarah went on. She had investors in her factory, and she started her own factory. After that, her and her daughter went to New York, basically to get into the nickel and dime store. And while in New York, her daughter saw how, wow, I absolutely love what I'm seeing. It's like I love being in New York because anything goes. And at the time, her daughter was married, but she was really struggling with the fact of her identity of herself. She didn't really know who she was, so she began to live an alternative lifestyle even while she was married. And so, she ended up getting a divorce, decided that, hey, this alternative lifestyle is for me. But Sarah goes on to tell her, well, you know what? You say that this alternative lifestyle is for you, but it isn't, because I want to leave an inheritance in the earth, and I cannot do that with you if you're not, what is the word that I'm trying to use here? You're not being fruitful and multiplying. So that's what Sarah wanted for her. But long story short, her daughter ended up adopting this young lady. And so they left Indianapolis. Sarah, before she left Indianapolis, her and her husband, things weren't going well. Her top 5 saleswomen ended up following one of the others. She started her own business, but it was never to be compared to what Sarah had actually started. As a matter of fact, Sarah's husband left her, divorced her to marry her top sales agent. And in the process of doing so, he ended up coming back, and Sarah realized, you know what, you are not what I want to do. I'm not doing this. And she gave him what he wanted, which was a divorce. And so Sarah ended up being Madam C.J. Walker, who lived next door to Rockefeller, and she had $1 million business. She was the first black woman that we know of that had $1 million business. Sarah thought so highly of her employees because she knew that without these employees, I would not be where I am. So she put this big event together where they would come together. It was like a conference. They would come together, and one night they had a gala, and then another night they had where she would present, awards to her employees. And some of the employees basically told her that if you put your products in the nickel and dime store, that's going to take away from us. We're not going to be able to sell as much. So Sarah reconsidered. She said, you know what? For you, because you guys have made me what I am, I'm not going to put my products in the nickel and dime store. I'm going to keep my products in your hands to continue to make money for you and your families. And that's what she did. And so to this day, there is a Madam C.J. Walker business that's still in effect. I'm not 100% sure if that's still the name of it, but that adopted daughter that they adopted, she basically carried on the legacy. So now today, her children, her grandchildren are carrying on the legacy of that of Madam C.J. Walker. Well, guys, there you have it. A few brief moments of talking about Madam C.J. Walker. That has been your 10 minutes of Black History, brought to you by First Class Convo. I'll see you guys next week. Look forward to another Black History moment. Bye, guys.